Hello. Today I'm going to flip the camera around and let you watch scenery because I've got scenery here and it's a lot better than looking at me. So while I talk, you guys can watch the ocean waves come in and people go by, whether they're walking or jogging or riding their bike. There'll probably be a number of people going by. It's, what time is it? 2 in the afternoon, so it's not that crowded, but it's probably in the 80s here in Redondo Beach, and just a beautiful day. And what I think I'm going to talk about today is college. There's a lot of talk. I'm in the education community, I'm on a school board, and there's a lot of talk about everybody needs to go to college. And I actually question that. I believe that we need to make sure that everybody who wants to go to college is prepared to go to college. But the fact that everybody needs to go to college, I think, is actually inaccurate. I think college is great. I enjoy it. I think it was a perfect choice for me. I think it's the right choice for most people, but it's not the right choice for every child. Think about it. If everybody went into college and became an engineer and doctor and a lawyer and all that, who would cut your hair? Who would repair your car? Who would fix your electricity and your plumbing and your air conditioning? Who would do the welding? Yeah, there's so much out there in the general trades that where people make really good money. They're entrepreneurs because guess what? They start their own business or they buy someone's business and then they run it. Plumbers and electricians, yes, they may work for large companies, but most of them have their own business, and it's a plumbing business. You need your house, plumbing worked on. What do? You go find a plumber, and they are most likely, running their business or have employees even. So all those people went up without a college education, or at least they didn't need a college education to do that. And that's the question is college truly something that everybody needs to do or not? I think there's another class of people that are perfectly, well, the first is, they're perfectly capable of going to college and they just choose not to because it just doesn't fit. They're going to become a photographer, they're going to become an electrician, whatever. But the other group is, there are people that, they're just not cut out for college. They're not test takers, they don't learn that way, that sitting in a lecture hall and learning things, and it can just not work for them. And there's nothing worse than spending tens of thousands of dollars on college and either coming away with nothing or coming away with a worthless degree and a lot of college debt. So the real question is, how do we make it so that the environment lets everybody know that we value college and college is an important thing, but if you don't go to college, that you're no less valued than everybody else that's in college? I have heard from parents that have kids that aren't planning on going to college that the other kids look at them differently and treat them a little differently. It's like, oh, you're not a college kid, so you're not smart, or you're just not as good, or you're not the same. And that's an issue. So while we're doing what we need to do for the college going culture and making sure that everybody can go that wants to go, we also need to make sure that the kids that don't want to go are feeling just as valued by our system. And that's a sort of an interesting sticking point, because us in the education community, that's a big thing, is how many kids went to college, what percentage of kids went to four-year universities, went to two-year universities. And the high schools that had more kids going to four-year universities are ranked better than the schools that had fewer kids. And is that accurate? Because it really isn't 100% of kids will go to college, no matter where you are. So I'd be interesting to find out what that number is. Is it that 15% of kids shouldn't be going to college, and that's kind of universal? The only other thing is, keep on saying only, one of the other things, um, you've got people off in, California, the Central Valley. It's a far more rural area. A lot of migrant farm workers. They're the ones that probably are smart, have a lot of kids that are smart enough to go to college, but it's just not part of the culture. And that's really where the work needs to be done. In the more affluent areas, the urban areas and the cities, it's not necessarily as important to try and let the kids know. It's like, hey, you should go to college. This is a good thing. College is good. College is good. They hear that. They know that. But in areas where maybe only 10 or 15% of the kids go to college, that's where they really need the work and the message that, it's being pushed in my neighborhood. Um, I had a good friend in college that he was one of the few people from his high school that did go to college. He was from Flint, Michigan, and back in the 80s, the kids are graduating high school saying, all I want to do is graduate high school, get a job in the factory working for General Motors. I'll be making 30, 35 bucks an hour, and I'll be set. I go there and I work and I retire, and that's all I got to do. Of course, 10, 15 years later, the auto market imploded, and Flint turned into, you know, poster for, what went wrong. And most of those people probably lost their jobs, and they don't have any marketable skills. They were high school graduates on the assembly line, and that's also an issue. We need to make sure that if the kids are graduating high school and they're not going to college, that they are career ready. That's one of the key words that we like to use, is college and career readiness. But the career part seems to really get glossed over. And we need to make sure that that career part, the kids aren't going to college, that they have those skills, that perhaps they know how to do office books so that they can run their business and manage their money, that they know what kind of skills are required for whatever they want to do, whether it be, automotive or welding, HVAC, that kind of stuff. Where they can go to classes, where they can learn those skills. Do they need to be an apprentice? All that kind of stuff. And get them really well and fully prepped so that they can go off and be truly productive members of society. A little bit rambling since I don't prepare my talks here, but those are my thoughts, and slightly controversial from my neighborhood, but let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Did you go to college? Should you have gone to college? Should everybody go to college? Or how many people should or shouldn't go to college? With that, a little bit of surf, and then I will sign off.